Hey, hey.
Hey everybody, how's it going? Got Terence and Jill here coming to you with
Yes,
another video.
yes, it's been a while, so we're
Yes,
here.
yes. And when she said wow, she mean a while.
hmm
But we definitely want to do better.
Yes, but we do go live. We go live every Tuesdays, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So make sure that you turn on your notifications.
Yes.
Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you share. Yeah, all that good stuff. All that good stuff.
For those of you that don't know us, we are Terence and Jill.
Mm-hmm.
We used to be newlyweds. We are about 2.5 years in now, so we don't think we're
Mm-hmm.
newlyweds now, but we're looking to keep that going though. We like being newlyweds.
Yes, we like being newlyweds, but our channel is a God-Ordained Union. And basically, we started with our
Yes.
story of
Yes.
we shared, we waited, we didn't settle. I was
Yes.
50 years old,
Y'all
um,
50 plus.
50 plus. Actually, I was 52 when I walked down the aisle. So,
Yeah.
and you was 54. So we waited. Well, my husband was married before, but it was 16 years between his divorce and our marriage. And so, but that's our story. Our story
Yeah.
is don't settle. God ordained union. Our mission is to
Is to enhance,
and
support, and encourage godly kingdom marriages.
yes, yep, yep. So we are out. We are on a mission to encourage those who are desiring marriage, and we're here to encourage you, support
Yes.
you, and just also help you to see some things that could be blocking you, good or bad. So that's what this channel is all about. So again, make sure you subscribe and all
Yes.
that good stuff. Follow us up on TikTok as well. I got ordained union, Terrence and Jill.
Yeah, we've
And
been
where
doing
else?
this a long
A
time.
long
So, for those of you
time.
that are new, please go back and see how we even got started. The original
Yes.
videos that we did years ago.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's been like 4 years, I think. So yeah, go our first 5 videos. It tells our story. That first video of how we
Yes.
met,
Yeah.
and it was a process.
And how this platform came to be.
Yes, 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 yes. So I think that's all the announcements, right?
Yes. Yes.
All right. We got a topic tonight.
We got a serious topic.
We got a topic. And
Yes.
so ooh,
Well, let me ask y'all this. We're gonna start this off with the question. What do you do? Or have you ever, let me go this way, have you ever had feelings for someone and they were already in a relationship?
yeah. Are you going through that now?
Are you going through that? What are you doing?
Should you wait
Yes.
or should you move on?
Mm. Wondering
Mm.
minds want to know.
Yes, there's a lot of people in this situation.
Yes.
So it's kind of two situations we want to
Yes.
point out tonight. And I definitely want your take on it, hubby.
Yes.
Because it's kind of go back to our story.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah. So the first situation is if um you believe God showed you your husband or your wife, but that person is in a relationship already.
Not necessarily married, but in a
Yes.
relationship.
Yes. So first of all, if they are married, God ain't show you.
Yeah.
God, let's just get that out the way. Move on.
Yeah.
God did not
Yeah.
show you.
He's
If
not the
they are
God of
married,
confusion.
yes, He is not going to show you that somebody else's husband or wife is yours. So yes, move on. Matter of fact, don't just move on. Run. So, but if they are in a relationship, say they are in a dating relationship or they're seeing someone else, but you believe that that person is your husband or
Mm.
wife. If you are a man, you believe that person is
Yeah.
your husband or your wife. What do you say? Should they move on or what should they do, baby? What you think?
I think they should move towards God.
Ooh,
And I say that because I think sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes we get to where we think God has said something. So just to make sure you are clear that you did receive that, I would say move towards God, pray more, fast more, build a relationship more deeper with God so you know emphatically that you're hearing from Him.
yeah, because there's a difference between feeling, hearing with your emotions,
Mm-hmm.
hearing with your the thoughts that's running in your head, the
Mm-hmm.
story you're telling yourself, and then really hearing from the Holy Spirit. There's
Absolutely.
a difference, and sometimes it's
Yeah.
real close. And so yeah,
And I've heard of people that have convinced themselves
convince
that
themselves that
somebody
person
was theirs,
hmm
but it was all in their own head.
yeah, it was all in their own head. So those of you who know our story, but those of you who don't, that's kind of what happened. Our story. I had came across Terence on social media in June of 2018, and I reached out to him on Facebook. I reached out to him in January of 2019, and basically I got rejected. Go listen to the whole story. And then he didn't reach out back to me until almost a year later. And so sometimes it could be that now and again, this is if God showed you that that person is your husband or your wife, or you believe that God showed you, but either you don't know if they're in a relationship or if they're in a dating relationship. God showing you does not mean that it is now. A lot of people got this is going to happen quickly, it's going to happen, but that's not necessarily so. And for a lot of people, it's not so. A lot of times God is showing you and he's trusting you with that piece of information. And if he can develop patience in you,
he's probably showing you also to get you focused to say, hey, I didn't just ignore you. I heard your prayers. I know what you're desiring, and I'm letting you know I got something for you. So let's get serious on these things that I need to take you through, so you're going to be ready when it's time for me to introduce you to him,
right,
or her.
Right. And so when I came across Terence, and for that period between January and then almost the next year, when he contacted me again, I did not know if he was in a relationship. Now he was seeing someone, which takes it to a whole nother point, because God will not give you someone if they're even dating. He's not going to divide. He's not going to go against someone's will. He's not going to show you something that is not right and ready. Now, when we say ready, again, timing has to take his good work. So it just is impeccable. So you got to develop patience in how it's going to fold out. But I remember when I was in the waiting period and I was wondering if I should move on. I did move on. Let's be clear. I did move on. Even though I felt in my spirit that he was the one, I did move on, and I moved closer to God. Like it kept coming. And I moved closer to God. And I remember I asked the Lord, I said, if he's not the one, please let him show up on my Facebook feed with a girlfriend or with a wife. Let me know that he is off limits, because even if he was dating, that's off limits and you should move on. You should move on, even if they're dating, even if you believe that God said, because again, it could be down the road sometimes, but it will never be yours. He will never show you if the person is married. He just won't. He's just not gonna do that. But even when they were dating, even if I knew they were dating, I would have moved on anyway, because that can go into coveting. And again, God does not disrupt or divide and go against someo's will.
He's not a God of division.
He's not a God of division.
But he knew that I was going in a direction that was opposite of where he was taking me.
Wow.
So he already knew that. I just didn't know. Oh no, let me change that. Let me correct that. He was telling me, he was showing me. I was just being stubborn.
Right.
Thinking that I had to prove something to somebody that didn't need anything proven to them.
Right.
So it took me longer to get out of that than it should have, because I thought I needed to make a stand on something, and I was wrong. I admit that I was wrong, but I will say this too. In our situation, we were like 2 hours apart. So it's not that we ran into each other during that time frame. So there wasn't a way for her to see me all the time and wonder. You know what I mean? It wasn't like we was running into each other 3 or 4 times a week and in our scheduling and what have you. This was strictly something that God had given her and she saw my profile online. So it ain't
Yes.
like we saw each other or we stayed in the same town and ran into each other all the time. So for those of you that you feel this may have happened to you and you're in the same city, oh, I know that's got to be hard.
Yeah, yeah. Again, I moved on. I said this many times over the years on this YouTube channel. I moved on. I was able. One of the things I know is that if that God, wanted me to release it, and it was basically releasing it into His control,
Yes.
into His hands. And I knew in my spirit that this man was my husband. I can't explain it. It wasn't in my head. Of course, when it was in my spirit, it started to go in my head and it started to go in my emotions. But I even said, Lord, take him away. Let someone else have him. If this is not who you have for me, like, I'm okay. I'm moving on, because I never wanted to be in a situation where I was trying to force something or convince myself of something. But I moved on. And as God proved Himself, he came back. He came looking for me. But that whole time, I never knew he was in a relationship. And if I knew he was in a relationship, I probably would have manipulated it to where I closed it down and blocked it. And so, but yeah, so either way, move on closer to God, or, of course, if they're married, you got to run. That ain't yours. The second situation is if you believe God told you that this person is your person, and the person is in a relationship, and they believe God told them that you were their person, but the person is in a relationship.
Yeah, you just got to run.
You just got to run.
You just got to run.
You got to run.
Because
Run fast.
That right there is a disaster.
Is a disaster. It's confusion. Is a disaster. And it's some trauma probably going on there that you got going on that's attaching to that person's trauma. And you just need to run and get some deliverance and some healing, and move on and run.
Yeah, you don't want to establish any type of soul ties or anything that's going to keep you bound,
right,
with that individual, and they're already in a relationship.
Yes. So should you wait for love when they're taken? Trust God. The faith move is moving on.
Yeah, and here's something that I think is very pivotal for our pivotal important to our situation. She mentioned that she released it and gave it to God. There was a point when I released it and gave it to God, not the other relationship. I was already done with that, but it got to a point where it was just me wondering, at my age, was it too late for me to find love and to be with somebody? And when I finally released it and gave it to God completely, is when He introduced us.
Wow.
We both had to release it.
You got to be clear. The way has to be clear
completely
for it to manifest.
He said, okay, you guys are being obedient. Let me go ahead and do what I do.
Mm-hmm. Because and even emotionally clear, like there are no soul ties, emotionally clear, for God to, because all that emotional ties to somebody else, even if you're not physically with that person no longer, those are blocks. And so in order for, lack of a better term, in order for the frequency to connect us, right, it had to be a clear path. And so even so, we gave a situation. I told a story on our live on Tuesday night, about a friend of ours, or of mine. She, really quickly, I don't want to get too much into the story, but I want to tell you how this works besides us. So this friend, she's single, but she knew this guy from college who was in a relationship, living with his fiance. He had proposed to the girl and they were living together. My friend is single. She's single, and she tried to date, she's going out with different guys, because she's single and she, having friends or trying to establish something. But even those guys she would go with could not go past like the first like date. And so she one day she told me, she said, Jill, I had a dream that such and such, the fiance of the girl, that such and such was my husband. And she said, and it's the craziest thing. She said, we hadn't seen each other in years. We haven't talked. She said, we follow each other on social media, but we don't talk. Like I had a dream that this man is my husband. And she said, but he's got a fiance. They had their engagement on, on social media last year. They bought a house together. They lived together. Like I really feel strongly in my spirit that this man is my husband. The very next day, actually it was at night, because she told me on a Friday. That night on social media, it was his birthday. She saw him on social media with some guys out celebrating his birthday, but he looked unhappy. So she said on the post, happy birthday, I hope you're doing well. He DM'd her and said, hey, thank you so much for checking up on me. He said, but I'm not doing well. He said, I broke off my engagement. He said, my fiance moved out and we're in the process of selling the house. We're in the process of selling the house. So that led to a conversation that he ended up calling her that night, and they talked on the phone all night. And in that conversation, he said he has always felt that she was the one, that she was his wife. Always felt that. But hear me clear. That connection could not have been, God wouldn't have revealed it to her until she didn't know that they were done with. Mm-hmm. But this is the thing, even though God showed both of them, they're in a period now, they're not together. They're in a period now where God is still dealing with the both of them, or let me be clear, on him, because there's some things that have to break. Some residual baggage that he's got to get past. Yeah. And he's a godly man, so he knows that, and he will not move forward with her. And so even though God may show you, you can't go past someone's will. You can't, override God's timing. And so she's in a period of being patient, and so is he. And so, but because he was no longer with he told the ex-fiance, he told her, I don't believe that he said, I apologize. I don't believe that you're my wife. Even though they were engaged. He said, I moved forward wanting to be married, but I don't believe, and he told her, this is who I believe my wife is. And so, yeah, but at the same time, my friend still has to move on. She has to move on.
Because God is still working on her.
Yes,
to prepare her
patience.
for what's going on.
Yes.
And here's something that I want you guys to really home in on.
Yeah.
That is, you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
When she had the dream, she had no idea that the marriage was called off, or the wedding was called off. So when you hear something, whether you think it's God speaking to you or whether someone else tells you, you have to really understand that you may not have 100% of the information.
Yeah.
So don't just act out quickly,
right,
and take something out of context and be way off base and destroy somebody's relationship. It was awesome, not that the relationship broke up, but it was awesome with God's timing, because when she finally spoke to him, he was able to confirm to her or verify to her that he was no longer in a relationship.
They were no longer in a relationship.
So that just confirmed to her that what she saw in the dream was more true valid. Than not.
So now she's at the point where she's moved on, pressing on and pressing in closer to God. Like she's studied constantly, like seeking God, because she's not only, if they both believe it, but she don't want to make the wrong move. Right. She want to be in God's timing, his will, you know, she wants to. So yeah, so
and his alignment.
in his alignment. Yes, yes. And so yeah, if they're taken, move on.
Move on.
Move on. And it's one of the probably one of the hardest faith moves you gotta make. But you gotta move on.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
so that's it for the Smiths.
Yeah, we just want to share this scenario with you guys and get your intake on it. So as you look at this video, you know, send us a message.
Yeah, comment
us know
below
what you think.
Comment below and tell us what you
And
think.
tell us a story if you got a story that's related to this.
Yes, yes. Or if you want advice, you know, if you want, you know, if you want our feedback, let us know.
Absolutely.
We're here to help.
Yeah.
Yep. So all right. So we'll see you on Tuesdays, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Turn on your notifications.
Absolutely.
All right.
Y'all be blessed.
Deuces. Ooh, deuces.